Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much once again for your support. We are about to start. We have started our next African composers interview. We have a guest composer today from South Africa. Thank you to all those who will join us and watch this interview live. Thanks to all of you who will watch this as a recorded interview. So thank you very much as well to our guest composer for joining us. And I will now invite you to introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nqobile Nkonzo in South Africa, in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, in Umzimkhulu. I was born on the 7th of January 1997. I'm the only child. I grew up staying with my aunt in Mabek, in Port Shepstone, whilst my mother was working. Then in 2003, I moved to Kokstad to live with her and started my junior grades, then moved to IB's Junior Secondary School, where I was introduced to choral music by Mr. Bonga and Mrs. Mbuyele. Then from there, I joined some community choirs, then moved to Durban to enroll at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, doing diploma in music, opera performances. And then it was then where I started interest in composition, and I never looked back.
Fantastic. Thank you for that introduction. So, I mean, you are a composer, but do you prefer singing to composing before we go ahead with the rest of the interview?
Yeah.
Do you prefer singing to composing?
No, I prefer composing, although singing is also what I do prefer, but I'm more based in composition.
Okay. And how are you, by the way, where you are? I mean, we're all going through, or most of us are experiencing the effects of the pandemic. Are you okay, safe, healthy where you are?
Yes, I'm okay. I'm safe with my family back home.
Okay. So you did mention in your profile that you transcribe music excerpts from operas for the SA singers. I think that's South Africa singers. What does transcribing involve?
I do transcribe because most of the members have a problem in sight reading, as most operas do not have tonic solfa. So I just transcribe them into so that they can have the tonic solfa, because the majority of the members can't sight read. So it is a problem when we're doing some opera excerpts, so they can't sight read. So it is easier for them if the music have the tonic solfa.
Okay. You talked about the fact that you got interested in composition in your second year. I think your second year of your master's, I believe.
No, in the second year of my undergrad degree.
I beg your pardon. Okay, sorry. Maybe I read that incorrectly. Second year of your undergraduate study. Now,
Yes.
what did you always want to get involved in music? And you were born, you said, in the 1990s, 1997. Was it challenging
Yes.
at the time when you decided to get involved in music? Did anybody try to discourage you and say you should become something else, that you won't make enough money, or you won't be able to make a living and support yourself?
Yes, there were challenges, because even in my family member, I had to lie at some instant about my choice, because they were like, music will take you nowhere, do that, do that. I tried to explain that it is not appropriate to tell me what to do. This is what I want to do. So I tried to fight them, but in the end, they agreed and supported me with my choice.
All right, so you've been getting support. Okay, and
Yes.
I noticed that amongst your list of just before you sent me your list of compositions, just above the
Yes.
list, rather, you talked about the fact that they've not been performed or premiered. So
Yes, they have
what is your
not been.
plan? Okay, sorry. What is your plan for getting your works performed? Because you have quite a few, and they look like, significant large bodies of work. So what's your plan for getting them performed?
My plan is to send them to certain choirs in South Africa. Also, the KwaZulu-Natal Philharmonic Orchestra, I'll send them to the Playhouse, because if I just keep them in the laptop, they won't be heard and they won't be seen.
Okay.
So I'll try by all means before the lockdown ends that I send them to certain choirs and organizations.
Okay, and do you expect? I mean, I don't know how this is going to come across, but there are some composers who
Yes.
compose, but they are ashamed of what they've composed. They don't want to show anybody. You seem to speak with confidence that yes, if I send them, I know
Yes.
that they will be considered.
Yes, I think we ought to believe in ourselves. And whenever I finished composition, I sent to them to certain personnels to look them and to critique them. Then I take their critics and just adjust where they say I must adjust them.
Okay. Uh, you talked about your one of your inspirations for a particular composition of yours. The plan
Yes.
was to play your compositions during the interview, but I will play
Okay.
them at the end and
Okay.
use the performances to bring the interview to a close, if that's okay. Um, but let's talk about your sources of inspiration. For one of your compositions, you mentioned your late aunt as the source of
Yes.
inspiration for that composition, if I can put it that way. What are your
Yes.
sources of inspiration generally?
My source of inspiration, I'd say it is my aunt, and as I was raised under the church environment, I'd say that because most of my compositions are biblically taken from the stories in the Bible. Yes, that is.
Okay. Taking from the stories in the Bible, you did write one about, I think, Mandela, the centenary celebration.
Yes, oh, that one's a friend of mine. I think, yes, he's a student in Western Cape University. He just sent me the libretto, and said, can you compose about this, as South Africa was celebrating the centenary of Nelson Mandela at that time,
Okay,
that
but
year.
it's not being performed yet.
No, not yet performed, as I'm still going with it. I haven't finished it yet. Yes.
Okay, okay. And how are your studies going, by the way? As a
Ye-
somebody who is studying, sorry, masters in music. Go on.
Yes, masters in music. Yes, my studies are going okay, yet challenging as I do not have funding, but I'm just trying to stay strong so that I can succeed in the end. But they are coming well okay.
Okay. And are you aware of other African composers? What is your engagement with other African composers? Not just
My
I'm talking in South Africa and across Africa. Do you get involved in events? Do you collaborate? Do you contact them? Do you exchange ideas? Do you listen to their music? Sorry, that's a lot in one question, but
Yes, I do engage with some South African composers, as I'm not aware of other composers in the rest of Africa as a continent. But I do engage with Joshua Mthembu, who's based here in South Africa, KwaZulu Natal, Sibusiso Njeza in the Eastern Cape, also Qinsela Sibisi. Whenever I asked them some of the composition technicalities, and they really do help. As for collaboration, no, not yet. I haven't collaborated with anyone yet, as I'm still trying to find my feet in the composition field.
okay. Well, we do wish you, we wish you the best and wish you huge success with the performances of your works going forward. And it's interesting to hear that you also, you contact. I recognize the name Kidisela Sibisi.
Yes.
Let's talk about the topics that you compose around. So you said
Okay.
some of your inspiration comes from the Bible. You talked about your late aunt.
Yeah.
You mentioned where your sources of inspiration come from. They and then you talked about Mandela, and because the work was requested by a colleague who sent you the libretto to
Yes.
begin with. Now, we are Africans, okay? We have so many stories to tell. Are
Yes.
you
Yes.
are you considering looking at African stories, our history, and writing about these? I mean, I'm not trying to push you in any direction. I'm just wondering if enough of us, or if it might be also an idea to look at our own stories or African stories and to write about this. But you must write what inspires you, I suppose. You cannot just write because somebody says write about Africa. But I mean, let's discuss
Yes.
that topic, the topic of African history and recording our history. Do you think it's an idea to consider amongst composers?
Yes, I think it is an idea. It's a great idea, so that whenever we want to access our history as Africans, it is easily to be accessed, and that it was written by someone who is African. Not that I'm saying it should, some people from other countries shouldn't, but it is a great idea that we do write about our music, our history as African. But what I can say is that I, for one, I don't think I am yet ready to write maybe like some big works about our African, about our history, but I am still considering to write music about our history as well.
And if you were to pick, I mean, sorry to put you on the spot, if you were to pick two topics, looking at Africa, Africa today or Africa yesterday, if you were to pick two topics to write about, what would they be?
That's a tough question, but
Minus
I
the one you've
think,
already written about. So if we minus Mandela, let's talk about other topics apart from his life.
yes, I think the topic that I can maybe choose is it's about our culture, to write about whenever maybe someone from another tribe want to know about other tribe, how they live, how they see things, how they do things. I think that's a great idea, because someone might want to know about other tribe and have a deep understanding so they can interact with them. I think that would be a great topic to choose from.
And another topic, I said two topics.
Another, let me say. For now, I think that's
Okay, so you're looking at music as a vehicle for introducing your culture or a particular tribe to another tribe, so to speak.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, and you think that is a topic that is important for Africans within Africa? So let's say within your country, for example, South Africa, is it necessary to have a song or a piece of work to tell another tribe this is who we are, this is what we do, or is that a message more for other African countries that don't know about South Africa as much? What would be the target
Yes,
audience?
yes. I think because music it's a tool that usually bring people together. I think it will be much easily understood if you want to teach some people about what you want to teach, what they want to know. They may have unclear understanding through music, but yes, I think music is the great ideal to bring people together. So I think they could understand better through music.
Okay. Is You said music brings people together. Do you
Yes,
think
I
music?
believe it does.
Okay. We have so many conflicts around the world. People would say actually politics is what is necessary to bring people together, or money, or good governance,
Yes.
or health. So exactly where does music fit in?
Sorry?
So what is the function of music? You said music brings people together, but some people will say it's governments that bring people together, or money, or good health. What role does music have to play in bringing people together? If you look at the conflicts around the world, what's the function of
Yes,
music?
I do. Yes, many people may have different of opinions, but I think music, well, I for one, I do believe music could bring, because whenever people in music, when we sing, we do share our emotions, make social interactions. But yes, other people may think otherwise, but I think music is a great tool as we interact with people, whether we know them, we don't know them. Yes.
Okay. And if you look at the current situation in different parts of the world with respect to the lockdown,
Yes,
you notice that a lot of choir, I don't know if you've noticed this, a lot of choirs are still coming together over the internet to sing
yes,
using
they are.
technology to continue to engage. Let's talk about what you are doing during the lockdown. You said before the lockdown you were pushing to get your works performed. But
Yes.
during the lockdown, have you started any projects? No pressure. Okay, so it's not compulsory to compose something during the lockdown.
Okay.
But are you working on any projects, perhaps to record what is happening now in the form of music? Um, what's happening with you? What are your current ongoing projects? Feel free to have
My
none, but some of us just want to rest. Believe me.
no,
You
my
can.
current project, my there is a current work that I'm currently composing, which is a cantata based from the Old Testament when the Lord instructed Moses to release Israelites from Egypt. But I haven't finished it yet. I'm still going through with it. Whenever I have time, then also do my research. And I'm still interacting with the committee from SA Singers in planning to premiere the crucifixion right after the lockdown ends. So those are I think, three things I'm currently busy with: my research, this cantata I'm currently composing, and the preparation for the premiere for the crucifixion, my other work, which is an oratorio.
Yes, I saw that among the list of compositions that you've worked on. The oratorio,
Yeah,
the crucifixion, is set to be
yeah.
premiered by the SA Singers. Tell us a little bit more, about the oratorio as we bring this interview to a close.
No, the oratorio is based from the story when Jesus Christ was to be crucified. So I took those 7 saying he said when he was crucified, then set them to music, then added some text for solos, choruses, male voice and female voices, which are within the story for the crucifixion.
Okay. Wow, there is so much more we can talk about. We are, however,
Yeah.
going to bring the interview to a close because the intention was to have a very, very brief conversation with you this morning. Thank you very much
Okay.
for giving us of your time. I will continue the rest of the interview by playing 2 of your compositions. So anybody who is still watching us, please stay on and watch the rest of this interview live. But we will let our guest composer go. Thank you for your time again, like I said, and we wish
Thank
you
you,
some
man.
your future endeavors.
Thank you very much.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right, so we're going to listen to 2 of our guest composers' compositions now. This is the first work that he said was inspired by his late aunt.
Oh!